The last person that stayed over here, probably like maybe a month or a month and a half or so ago, she stayed in Olive's room, and that's where like everybody hears stuff all the time. And she said that the entire night she couldn't sleep because the closet door kept rattling. And I was like when the air goes on and off, how it kind of moves. You know what I mean? How doors get opened.
Yeah.
She's like, oh no, it was like violently shaking and rattling. Like,
then why did she stay in there?
Get ripped off the hinges all night. I know. She's like, I kept trying to go to sleep and ignore it, but it wouldn't stop.
I would have been like, okay, I guess I'm sleeping in the living room.
Right.
You know? All right. Welcome back to Witchin' and Winin'. I'm your resident witch, Miranda.
And I am Crystal, your resident wino. Tonight we're diving deep into the mysteries of the water, from the rocky shores of ancient Greece to the rivers of Africa and the seas of the Caribbean. There are legends of women with tales, songs that lure sailors, and spirits who rule the depths.
Mermaids, Sirens, and La Sirène, the voodoo sea goddess who can bless you with riches or pull you straight under. I love this topic. I absolutely adore. I have like several mermaids or mermaid themed things tattooed on my body. Love it. Excited.
I love how you said her name. It was very spicy.
Why, thank you. I've been
Say it again.
Like, La Sirène.
Yeah.
Is that what I said? Sirène.
Now, when most folks think of mermaids, they picture Disney's Ariel brushing her hair with a
Which is tattooed on my leg, by the way.
Of course. But the stories we're sharing tonight, they're older, darker, and a whole lot more complicated than talking crabs and singing fish.
So definitely, this is not kid-friendly bedtime stories. These are tales of seduction and danger, beauty and power, and most importantly, stories that people still tell and still believe, and sometimes even claim to experience.
So pour yourself a glass and settle in. Tonight, we're heading into the world of mermaids, sirens, and
La Sirène.
Yeah. When most people today picture a mermaid, they see Disney's Ariel, bright red hair, a seashell bra, and a catchy song or two. But the roots of mermaid lore go much further back, and the earliest versions were far more dangerous. The first time we meet sea women in Western tradition is in Homer's Odyssey. Nearly 3,000
That jump in the water.
Huh?
You know, Homer's Odyssey. It's like really popular. There's a concept musical about the Odyssey. It's called Epic, and there's a whole song with the sirens from Homer's Odyssey.
I haven't seen that, but I was in a play that kind of was a spoof of that. I think it was, I might be mixing this up, but I feel like it was called With Sword and Rubber Chicken.
That's a fun name.
And I played one of the goddesses, but then I also had another role, and it was because we didn't have enough people to be like the crewsmen, the crew on the pirate ship or the ship. And, you know, people were dying off everywhere we went, and there weren't enough people to play the actors and keep dying off. So I was the person who continuously got killed off, and it was hilarious because I would just wander back on the scene, and everyone's like, in the crowd was just laughing because they're like, she was just eaten by the Cyclops. Anyway.
That is incredible.
I still remember that, and God, high school was a long time ago. But it was fun. Okay, so yes, so Homer's Odyssey nearly 3,000 years ago. And in this story, the hero, Odysseus, sails past an island where the sirens live. They're not sweet, or playful. They are monsters. Their voices are so beautiful and so irresistible that any sailor who hears them turns his ship toward the music, only to wreck on the rocks and die. Odysseus, being clever, has his crew plug their ears with beeswax, but he himself, curious to hear the song, orders them to tie him to the mast. And there he is, strapped tight, begging to be released as the sirens sing. His men row on, deaf to the deadly call, and the ship survives. Now here's the surprising part. In the earliest Greek art, the sirens weren't mermaids at all. They had the faces and torsos of women, but the bodies and wings of birds. They perched on cliffs above the sea, playing flutes or harps, calling sailors to their deaths. Now we're going to the Roman poet Ovid. Ovid added another layer to the story. He wrote that the sirens had once been maidens who served Persephone, the daughter of Demeter, which was the goddess of the harvest. When Persephone was kidnapped by Hades and taken to the underworld, the sirens begged the gods for help so they could search for her. The gods gave them wings, but instead of finding Persephone, they were cursed to sing forever, never at peace, always luring others to tragedy. So Persephone is kidnapped, and these maidens of hers beg the gods for help, and then they end up being cursed with wings and having to sing forever to lure people to their death.
Totally help you. Here you go.
Yes. Very helpful. Thank you. So, how did bird women become the fish-tailed mermaids we picture today?
Evolution. Just kidding.
I mean, maybe. That change came centuries later in the Middle Ages, and there are a few theories why. Some scholars think it started as a translation mix-up. As Greek texts moved into Latin, the word sirene was confused with other sea spirits, and artists began to draw them with fishtails instead of feathers. Others believe it was the church's doing that changed the look of the siren. The bird women of old didn't really work as warnings against lust, but a beautiful woman with long hair, a mirror, and a comb, that was the perfect symbol of vanity and temptation. Suddenly, sirens were cautionary tales painted into manuscripts and carved into church walls. Yes, because fish tales are so freaking sexy.
Men, I mean, it's men. It is men who find anything,
Anything that wiggles?
Yes, it's not women that are coming up with this. This is men.
Yeah. Another idea is that the sirens blended with local folklore. Across Celtic, Norse, and Slavic lands, there were already water spirits and fish women in the stories. Okay, first of all, I find it interesting that all these different regions and cultures have these fish women stories.
Yeah,
I mean,
100%.
it's not like they had like Facebook or the telephone to share these stories back then.
A logical connection would be that they are seeing something similar.
Yeah, there's some type of connection. So, in the Celtic, Norse, and Slavic lands, they already had these water spirits and fish women. Well, as Greek myths spread north, the two traditions merged, or some believe, and the bird parts were left behind. And finally, some historians argue that the transition was simply an artistic imagination. Medieval artists loved hybrid creatures, and the fishtail emphasized the siren's tie to the sea. By the 14th century, the bird women of Homer were almost forgotten. In their place stood the mermaid, the fish-tailed temptress we still recognize today. And people didn't just draw them, they claimed to see them. Christopher Columbus in
Christopher,
93.
y'all.
Yeah. Mr. Columbus himself, he wrote that he saw 3 mermaids rise from the water near Haiti. He admitted they were not so beautiful as they are said to be, for their faces had some masculine traits. Historians now think he was looking at manatees.
Yeah.
Yeah, so similar.
But also, okay, if you look at a manatee, like if you see a manatee swimming above you or swimming or whatever, like there is a part that looks like knees of a person. You know what I mean? So it's like from far away, maybe I could kind of understand.
I mean, like if they're swimming above you, yeah, but it's not like he was diving.
I mean, that's a good point, but also still, a man would fuck anything. So.
He was on that water too long.
A bit too long.
About a century later, Captain John Smith, the same one tied to Pocahontas, described seeing a mermaid off the coast of Newfoundland. He said she had long green hair and features that, though unusual, were by no means unattractive. By now, even scientists were getting caught up in the tide. In 1749, Carl Linnaeus, the father of modern taxonomy, responded to reports of a mermaid near Sweden. He urged the Academy of Sciences to investigate, writing that the creature should be caught alive or preserved in spirits. Even if Linnaeus thought it might be real, the line between myth and reality wasn't always clear. So this is another major figure in history. These aren't just random Joes coming up with stuff, these are like men with
people who would have credibility.
Yeah, they're credible, they're respected. But it didn't stop there. It gets crazier, y'all. In 1809, newspapers in Thurso, Scotland, carried reports of mermaids seen off the coast, and readers treated it like news, not fantasy. Meanwhile, in Slavic folklore, there were the Rusalka, restless spirits of drowned women who lured men into rivers. In Japan, the Ningyo was a fish-like creature whose flesh was said to grant immortality, but at a terrible price. So all of these different cultures are sharing some type of ocean spirit
commonality. Yeah.
Right. There's got to be something to it. Across centuries and continents, the pattern repeats. Sometimes omens, sometimes temptresses, sometimes divine beings, but always straddling the line between beauty and danger. From bird women on rocky cliffs to fish-tailed mermaids in medieval manuscripts, to sailors' journals and scientists' letters, the sea has carried these whispers for thousands of years. Were they real creatures, mistaken animals, or the ocean itself playing tricks on human eyes? All we know is this: the siren song still lingers, a promise of beauty, a threat of death, and a reminder that the sea keeps its secrets well.
I've got to admit, I love the original sirens were basically like creepy birds. They're just like hanging out on cliffs with their harps and...
Right? Imagine rolling up on shore and finding Big Bird's mysterious cousin trying to sing you to your death. That's a whole different vibe.
But somehow, centuries later, they trade those feathers for fishtails, and I do kind of get why, though. Like, the bird look doesn't fully scream seduction, even though some birds are definitely beautiful. But, like, seduction, how fish swims and it's all, like, wavy, and you just imagine how, like, people dance in the club and they're, like, rolling their body.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But what gets me is how serious people were about it. Columbus swears he saw mermaids. John Smith swears he saw a mermaid, with green hair no less. And Linnaeus, the guy who gave us scientific names for plants and animals, was like, yeah, let's catch one and pickle it in a jar.
They could have just been drunk sailors seeing manatees or, I don't know, belugas or who knows, but, like, maybe they weren't, right?
Maybe some of them were, but look at how consistent the stories are across cultures. Europe, Africa, Asia, always beautiful, always dangerous, always tied to the water. And it makes you wonder if there's something deeper going on, something more than manatees.
I mean, I'm sure there's definitely something more than manatees in our oceans. Like, water has always been this, like, mysterious in-between place. It's life-giving, but it's deadly if you cross it the wrong way. And if you think about it, like, we know more about space than we know about our own oceans. So maybe mermaids and sirens are just the way we gave that power to a face, that, like, mysterious power.
Could be. And all I know is if I see something rise out of the water with green hair and it smiles at me, I'm out of there faster than you could say, don't untie Odysseus.
I mean, I probably, this is where we would differ. I would be like, say less. I would be
Hello.
But then again, I'm a woman, right? So, like, we all know the sirens and mermaids, they lure men to their deaths.
Yeah.
What are they doing to women?
Good question. Maybe you'll find out when we go on our cruise.
Yes, Witchin' and Wining's gonna go on a cruise together. We haven't seen each other in so long.
We're gonna be on a cruise for spring break, y'all.
Woohoo! And we will definitely, if we see mermaids, for show. We're gonna be telling you guys, Maybe you should bring, like, I know this probably won't happen, but your ghost hunting equipment.
Oh, I don't have any.
Who knows?
I've been wanting to get some. I don't have any ghost hunting equipment.
Oh, I thought you did.
No, I was in a ghost hunter group, but it was like a scientific group.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually through the Ghost Hunter show or whatever, and they would send us on jobs. But but I was in a group full of scientists. Like, we had a NASA scientist and stuff.
That is so freaking cool.
And we had all these different crazy instruments that, like, you just don't see other people using, like like Tesla coils and shit. And
that's legit.
Yeah, it was really cool. We had some wild experiences, let me tell you.
Okay, back to our sirens.
Oh, yeah.
So we've seen how Europe shaped its mermaid myths, but across the ocean, there are other water spirits, equally powerful, equally dangerous, but just as enduring. Our next story comes from Africa. You'll hear stories about a spirit who has been honored and feared for centuries. Her name, Mami Wata. The name comes from Pidgin English, literally meaning mother water. She isn't just one being, but a whole family of water spirits spread across the cultures. So wherever there's water, like rivers, lakes, and oceans, you'll find whispers of her. She is as changeable as the tide itself. It's nurturing and healing one moment, but destructive and deadly the next.
So I'm wondering if, like, I go to the river here in Arkansas and she's a part of it.
I mean, it's all water's connected. Mami Wata is most often imagined as a breathtaking woman, sometimes with the shimmering tail of a mermaid, sometimes appearing fully human on land, and almost always adorned with jewelry, beads, gold, bright cloths, and mirrors. Her hair is long and flowing, her eyes are mesmerizing, and around her body is often coiled a great snake. The imagery of her description is it's rich with meaning, right? So, for example, the mirror in her hand, it symbolizes wealth, vanity, self-reflection. The comb she carries stands for, like, care, discipline, order. The snake represents divinity, healing, and transformation. And her sacred colors, which are blue, green, and white, are the colors of water itself, purity, and spiritual balance. But Mami Wata isn't just a symbol. She's a living presence in the traditions of millions. She can bless her followers with wealth, beauty, fame, fertility, or healing, but her gifts come at a price. You disobey her rules, neglect her offerings, or betray her trust, and she can take everything back, sometimes with illness, madness, or even death.
So she's basically a real-life Ursula.
Maybe a real-life Ursula, but she seems a bit nicer than Ursula.
Yeah.
And also, by the way, on a side note, I also have Ursula tattooed on my body. Her rituals reflect duality. Across Africa, shrines are built in her honor, adorned with mirrors, combs, perfume, powder, liquor, jewelry, and fine cloths. Devotees wear her colors and dance to the sound of drums, calling her forth with songs that mimic the flowing of water. When she arrives, she may mount a follower, with possessing them so that they dance with wave-like movements, often carrying a mirror or a snake, embodying her seduction and power.
I would love to hear what those songs sound like that mimic the flow of water.
Same. But I was like, at the same time, I don't feel worthy of hearing them. And then there are stories of encounters. Fishermen tell of seeing her rise out of the rivers, and she's glimmering like moonlight on water, and her hair is cascading around her face as she's beckoned them to come closer. Some say she lures people beneath the surface to her palace of riches. Those who return often come back changed. They speak being given sudden wealth and beauty or spiritual power, but they also return with obligations. Some are required to live in celibacy, bound to her alone. Others must dedicate regular offerings or ceremonies in her names. Anthropologists in the 20th century recorded strikingly similar stories. In Liberia in the 1960s, psychiatric researchers noticed that nearly 10% of male inpatients described being possessed by Mami Wata. They said that they were taken to her underwater palaces where she offered them wealth or sexual power, but punished them with illness or insanity if they broke their vows to her. Even in these clinical settings, her presence was undeniable. It was woven into the fabric of the real lives and experiences. Her origins are pretty much as fluid as the rivers that she rules. Scholars trace her imagery to many influences, like Indian snake charmers or European mermaid paintings, African water spirits blending together through trade and migration. In each place, she took on new traits and was adapting and reshaping, but she never lost her essence. And she actually didn't stay in Africa. Through the diaspora, she traveled to the Caribbean, the Americas, and beyond. Today, her worship continues with festivals, shrines, artwork, and music. She is a figure of beauty, of wealth, of seduction and power, but also of danger and discipline. So to honor Mami Wata is to acknowledge the truth of water itself. It gives life, it quenches thirst, it feeds our fields, but it also drowns. It floods and takes back what it has given. She is beauty and peril, blessing and curse, divine mother and deadly seductress. For centuries, people have seen her, dreamed of her, danced for her, and feared her. And through it all, Mami Wata remains what she has always been, the embodiment of water's mysteries.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but I'm not about to go diving into a river if Mami Wata's down there waiting with a snake and a mirror. No, thank you.
Yeah, I feel like this kind of thing I would admire her from the shore and, thank her for her presence and tell her I respect her. But you could definitely see how different she is from the European mermaids, right? Over there, they're mostly omens of storms or temptresses luring men. But Mami Wata, she's bigger than that, which I absolutely love. And she's wealth and beauty and healing and power and danger all rolled up into one.
I like that she's got rules, too. She's not just out there singing sailors to their doom for fun. She'll bless you if you respect her. But if you mess around, forget her offerings, break a vow, she'll snatch it all back. She's like, play by my rules or you're done.
Exactly. And it's wild how people really describe being taken underwater and coming back days or even years later with money and power and obligations.
Yeah, congratulations, here's your wealth. Oh, and by the way, you can never sleep with another person again, or I'll strike you down.
I mean, honestly, if, she would come visit enough to, satisfy, Anyway, she's so powerful and also unpredictable. You never really know if she's going to be your savior or your downfall.
And that makes sense. She is water.
Yeah.
It gives life, but it can also destroy everything in a heartbeat. Mami Wata isn't just a spirit. She's the ocean and the river themselves. Beautiful, necessary, but also something you should never take lightly.
So, if you were going to leave her an offering, what would you leave, Crystal?
Wine, obviously.
Duh.
I mean, come on. If she's going to pull me under, I at least want her to have a good glass in her hand.
And maybe she'll spare you.
Or share.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. All right. So we've seen how Africa shaped its water spirits and how they became global icons. But in Haiti, there's another figure which is closely tied to Mami Wata, yet distinct. She's called La Sirène, and she may just be the most haunting water spirit of them all.
In Haitian voodoo, there's a spirit who waits beneath the waves. She's not just a figure of myth or a story told to children. She is a presence, living and powerful, as real to her followers as the ocean itself. Her name is La Sirène. La Sirène is one of the Wa, the spirits honored and served in voodoo. She is the wife of Agwe, the great sea captain, master of the tides. But where Agwe steers the ship and commands the waters, La Sirène is the mystery that hides below the surface. She is the beauty and temptation, the dream that pulls you deeper, the promise that the sea holds treasures, but never without a price. She is imagined as a dazzling mermaid, her long hair flowing like waves, her body glittering with jewels and silk. She carries a mirror in which she gazes at herself, not in vanity, but power. The mirror reflects wealth and knowledge, the truth that the ocean shows only to those who dare to look. In her other hand, she may hold a comb, carefully ordering every strand of her hair, a symbol of discipline, of care, of the control she demands from her followers. Her sacred colors are blue, white, and gold. The deep water, the breaking foam, and the shimmer of sunlight on the surface. But La Sirène isn't just seen in paintings or altars. People claim they have met her. Devotees tell of dreams where they stand on the shore of vast turquoise seas. The water calls to them, and when they step in, they find they can breathe as though it were air. The ocean swallows them. Not violently, but with a strange embrace, pulling them into another world. There beneath the waves, they see palaces made of coral and pearl, walls lined with endless mirrors that glitter like 1,000 suns. In those mirrors, she appears, La Sirène herself, radiant, beautiful, terrifying. Sometimes she is silent, only watching. Other times, she sings, and her voice fills the dreamer with longing so strong it hurts. In one account, a follower dreamed of being crowned by her. She placed a necklace of jewels around their throat, and when they woke, their voice had changed. They sang with a power they never had before. Another devotee dreamed she handed them a golden instrument, and soon after they became a musician, saying every song they wrote was hers. But not all encounters are blessings. Some return from these dreams with obligations. La Sirène may demand celibacy, claiming the devotee as hers alone. Others are told to make offerings at her altars. Perfumes, mirrors, jewelry, white cloth spread like foam upon the water. To refuse is to risk her wrath. There are stories of those who ignored her, who failed to honor her after she appeared to them. They found themselves haunted by illness, plagued by nightmares, or stripped of the wealth she had once given. And sometimes her presence is not in dreams at all, but in ceremony. When the drums beat and the songs call her forth, she may come riding into the body of a devotee. Witnesses describe how the possessed person will suddenly move like water itself, swaying, graceful, untouchable. They may gaze into mirrors, comb their hair with invisible hands, or sing in voices not their own. Sometimes they collapse, thrashing as if drowning, only to rise moments later, gasping as though reborn. In those moments, the room becomes the ocean, and La Sirène is there among them. Even in modern times, her presence is recorded. Practitioners describe dreams of turquoise waters where the number 7 repeats again and again. 7 waves, 7 mirrors, 7 voices. They speak of standing before her, overwhelmed by both love and terror. They wake drenched in sweat, shaken, but certain they have been claimed. La Sirène is muse and mistress, blessing and curse. She gives wealth, beauty, music, inspiration, but she demands obedience, respect, and devotion. She is not a spirit you bargain with lightly. For her followers, she is not a myth. She is as real as the tide. She is the song in dreams, the shimmer of a mirror on the water, the hand that reaches from waves to pull you under. And those who have seen her, those who have breathed in her world beneath the sea, will tell you one thing. Once La Sirène calls you, you will never be free of her voice.
It's interesting how it's very similar to Mami Wata, and it just pulls back to, how all of these different cultures that are so far away from each other had similar deities and beliefs and spirits and stuff like that. But honestly, this one gave me more chills, I think.
At least with the old European mermaids, the danger was straightforward. Here, you hear the song, crash your ship, the end. But with La Sirène, you don't even need a boat. She'll come find you in your sleep.
But, which honestly, people they describe so vividly, like breathing underwater and palaces of corals and mirrors and even waking up with new talents or sudden wealth. That's crazy. She is less like a legend and more like a freaking life-changing encounter.
Yeah, but life-changing in a way you might not want. Imagine explaining to your family that you're now in an exclusive relationship with a mermaid queen who doesn't allow cheating.
That would be a hard one to explain, but what amazes me though is how far these stories travel, from Greece to Africa to Haiti, and people still talk about seeing mermaids today.
You'd think with satellites and submarines and every sailor carrying a cell phone, we'd have put the question to rest. But nope, people keep spotting them, hoaxing them, and sometimes even swearing their lives were changed by them.
Which brings us to our last part of the night. We've covered the old myths and the voodoo spirits, but now let's look at mermaids today. From sideshow hoaxes to viral documentaries, and why do we still cling to the idea of mermaids in the modern world?
Have you seen that video? It's like I think he's on a fishing boat, and it's, modern times. I don't think it happened that long ago. And the man is using his cell phone to film, and he's running around the ship, and you can see these, what you could possibly think are dolphins, following the boat along the sides. But then, you hear these,
oh yeah,
what sounds like sirens calling to him to jump.
Yeah, I've seen that video. That's wild. Mermaids, obviously, didn't stay trapped in old myths, right? Even in modern times, long after science, submarines, and satellites, like we said, should have put the mystery to rest, they keep resurfacing. Hoaxes? Are they dreams? Are they real? We don't know, so let's see. In the 1800s, people lined up and paid money to see one of the most infamous attractions of all time, which was the Fiji Mermaid. This exhibit was by P.T. Barnum and the showmen who knew exactly how to sell a spectacle. It was advertised with posters of gorgeous sea maiden with long flowing hair, a tail shimmering, but the reality was something else. What people saw under the curtain was a grotesque little creature, barely 3 feet long, with the torso of a monkey stitched to the tail of a fish. Its eyes were sunken, its teeth jagged, and the body was twisted and dried. By all accounts, it was more nightmare than dream, and yet Barnum's Fiji mermaid was still a sensation. Newspapers covered it, skeptics debated it, and more versions just popped up across Europe and Asia. Many made by taxidermists, of course, in Japan, who combined animal parts to create what looked like mummified sea monsters. Grotesque or not, people wanted to believe.
Have you seen that?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
I'll post a picture on Facebook. It's pretty crazy.
I know. Okay, so that desire didn't fade with time. Fast forward to 2012. We all heard about this one, and the Discovery Channel aired a program called Mermaids: The Body Found. It shot like a serious documentary. Like, it featured quote-unquote scientists, government conspiracies, and even quote-unquote evidence of aquatic humanoids. Viewers were hooked. Millions believed it was real. Social media, of course, exploded with theories, and the frenzy grew so intense that the government had to step in. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is the NOAA, posted an official statement on their website. No evidence of aquatic humanoids have ever been found. So, think about that. It's one, taking a little side note, sort of, Discovery Channel after that kind of lost credibility, because like people watch the Discovery Channel for like real life documentaries and like information, you know?
And also, can you really trust the government?
These days?
Especially our government.
These days? No, dude. Don't even get me started.
Don't even get me. The embarrassment of our president.
I can't even.
Cringe.
I just still don't. Anyway.
Okay.
I just can't. Anyway. So, think about that, though. Like, this federal science agency had to reassure the public that mermaids weren't real. And then next year, Discovery doubled down with Mermaids: The New Evidence, drawing on record-breaking ratings again, even as critics blasted them for blurring the line between fact and fiction. So it's like, is this real? Is this a hoax? Is it like some whistleblower on the inside trying to tell us the truth? I don't know.
Dropping hints.
Yeah, but belief in mermaids isn't just the stuff of TV shows and carnival hoaxes. In Zimbabwe in 2012, workers at 2 dam sites refused to continue construction. They claimed mermaids were haunting the reservoirs, driving them away. The fear was so strong that government officials brought in traditional healers to perform rituals to appease the spirits. Some reports said even after the ceremonies, the workers refused to return. These weren't sailors lost at sea centuries ago. These were modern workers, convinced mermaids were real and dangerous and all up in their face when they're trying to work. And there are other scattered reports, fishermen in South Africa, swearing they saw a woman combing her hair on the rocks, only to vanish when approached. Locals in Israel describe pale figures in the surf, half human, half fish. Stories from Canada, these stories have glowing-eyed creatures surfacing by fishing boats. Rarely do these stories hit big international news, but they circulate in local media and folklore, adding fuel to the fire. So again, the question, why do we still cling to mermaids? Me, because they're fucking beautiful. I know, I want to be a mermaid. I was that kid playing mermaids at every body of water.
Me too. And whenever I was learning how to swim, I taught myself how to wiggle when I'm underwater, wiggle up and down like a mermaid does with your legs together.
Yep.
Because I did that so much, to this day, when I'm underwater, that is still how I swim.
Me too. Me too.
I mean, it works.
Honestly, it works really good. But the Smithsonian Magazine, I think, puts it beautifully. Mermaids endure because they embody a contradiction, our longing for beauty and our longing for freedom and mystery, paired with our fear of the unknown and the dangerous and the deep. They are the ocean made human. Psychologists argue that they are projections of human desire and danger, our way of giving form to things we can't explain.
Yes, because all of these cultures all around the world, even before we had lines of communication between us, just came up with all of these almost identical things because we wanted it to happen. It was projections of our desire. How would we just all
Project that.
the same thing?
I don't know. But, I mean, like what Crystal was saying, you see their fingerprints everywhere. Like, excuse me. Like, okay, the Starbucks logo is a twin-tailed mermaid. It's like a siren calling us for caffeine.
I think there's an actual name for that.
I think it's like a milliseed.
I think so.
Mm-hmm. Are you looking it up?
Yeah. Let's see. Melusine?
Yeah, the milliseed.
Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow, you're good. Yeah, that's exactly what it is.
I told you, I'm not kidding when I say I looked up so much of mermaid stuff throughout my years. You know what I mean? Like, I have just, it's in there.
You know your stuff, girl.
Yeah. Then we go to Disney's The Little Mermaid, turned a folkloric warning into a story of independence and romance, cementing Ariel as one of the most beloved characters in modern culture. You know, mermaids sell coffee. They sell movies. They sell makeup and TV shirts. You name it. You put a mermaid on it.
You said TV shirts.
T-shirts and probably TV shows, you know. They're not just folklore now. They're icons, okay? Icons. From Barnum's grotesque little monkey fish to a government agency issuing official statements to workers in Zimbabwe too terrified to face them, mermaids remain with us. They adapt and they endure. They transform. And maybe that's the real truth of the myth. Not whether mermaids are flesh and blood in the water, but how real they become in our imagination. Because even today, with all our science and reason, people still look out at the waves and wonder, what if?
And so will we when we're on our cruise.
Yes!
I cannot wait.
I know.
You know, we're going to be there for 5 days. And then, at least for us, we have to travel to California and back on the other time. So that's a week. So either we're going to have to record an episode beforehand to post, or we're going to have to record while we're on the cruise ship.
Oh.
Which might be kind of cool if we walked around with a microphone and asked people, hey, do you have a spooky story?
Dude, that would be so cool.
We should
I love that. We should totally do that. Yes. Yes.
Hell yeah. Okay. But, okay, about this. But you know what gets me about all of this? Barnum was out here sewing a monkey to a fish. And people were like, yup, that's definitely a mermaid. Take my money.
Yeah, he was like the original clickbait. Okay, let's be real.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, the government has been doing the same thing ever since. It's just fancier posters.
Right? Discovery makes a fake mermaid documentary, supposedly, and suddenly NOAA has to release a statement like, no, mermaids aren't real. Everybody calm down. Which honestly makes me more suspicious.
Oh, here we go.
I'm just saying, if they'll fake mermaids for TV, what else have they faked? The moon landing, maybe?
Don't start. No. Next thing. No. That wasn't. Anyway, the next thing you'll be telling me, they've got a whole Atlantis under Area 51.
I mean, do we know they don't? The government hides all kinds of things. UFOs, mermaids, maybe even Bigfoot in a Hawaiian t-shirt.
Now that's a Discovery Channel special I'd watch.
Me too. But that's the thing, right? We don't trust the ocean, something we know almost nothing about. And we don't really trust the people telling us what's in it either.
Or not in it.
Right? So mermaids slip right into that gap. They're the mystery we want to believe in. Because if the government says no, maybe the answer is actually yes.
And that's why they'll never go away. As long as people look at the waves and wonder what's hiding underneath, there'll be a mermaid story waiting.
I'm sorry, I'm over here like a cat trying to catch this fruit fly and it's driving me crazy. Okay, go on.
So, thank you all for diving deep with us tonight into the world of mermaids, sirens, and sea spirits.
If you enjoyed this episode, please like, rate, and review and share. It really helps us out. And if you've got your own stories or topics you want us to cover, first of all, you can share on our Facebook page, Witchin' and Winin'. Second, I started our first Reddit page.
Ooh.
Yeah, I sure did. This week I did. And it is paranormal_shares. You can post your story, pictures, videos, whatever there. I'm working on the YouTube, but you can also share by sending it to our email. So email us at witchinandwinin@gmail.com.
That's WITCHN
ANDWINEN @gmail.com.
Seriously?
And let me tell you. Okay, so Miranda and I, we are just an independent little podcast. We don't have any kind of company or backing. Like, nobody's helping us out here. And
yeah, like I'm recording in my closet that has no airflow and,
right?
attached to my iPad and my phone.
And let me tell you, yeah, like I record through my phone. Let me tell you guys, we have no money to advertise. We do not advertise at all. So when you share, that helps us. When you send us your stories to put on here, that helps us. Every little thing that you can do helps us. And if you were to email us or post your story on Reddit or wherever, you would be the very first person to do so. And I would guarantee a big ol' shout out to you. And heck, I don't know, I might have, some kind of gift to send to you or something, like print out our Witchin' and Winin' photo on some.
You'll get the first merch ever.
Right? Like maybe I'll print out our Witchin' and Winin' photo on a canvas and send that, or freaking A, I don't know. I'd just be so excited. I would love you forever.
Yes, exactly. So please, we'd love to hear from you.
Yes. And hey, if the government says mermaids aren't real, well, that's exactly what they want you to think.
Have a good night, everybody.
Goodbye. Oh, I'm gonna wave bye. Get it? Like
goodbye.
The ocean? Wave.
Yep. Wave. Beautiful.
Mermaids don't do homework. That's why I'm joining them. What does mermaid sleep on? Waterbed. See you next tide. Get it? Tide.